All right, we're ready to go. All right, good afternoon. I am wanting to share with you ways that you can utilize our program to embed your Common Core standards with your ways that you can use it in your daily lessons. So this first page just really shows a picture of one of the books that we have available. What you will be able to access is a Common Core supplement page. And the standard that we are working on right now is asking questions and answering questions. So this particular, yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm actually not seeing anything on your screen right now. So
Oh,
let's get that figured out.
yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Now can you see my screen?
Yes. Okay. So now we want to make sure I only see your yes.
That's working.
Now I can see it. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and start from what you had it on from the beginning?
All right. I have
Just kind of start over.
up that shows one of the digital books that are available that you can use for your lesson. And included in this page, it gives you a brief description of what the book is able to help readers see. So as you're doing the lesson, you can be able to differentiate based on that. What I really like about it is the projectable so that the teacher can use it in large group before she goes out. That's for your 15-minute mini lesson that you can utilize. And then what I also like is the other components that are available when you send them off for their individual work. This particular Common Core supplement page really gives the teacher an idea of how to utilize this certain book to the fullest of however the mini lesson, how she wants to implement the mini lesson. Whether it's giving the students a key question, like the one at the top, why do different kinds of animals have different kind of eyes? Within that key question, the students can have an opportunity just to think about that before they even start the book. And the teacher also can have a discussion as a whole group before she even starts the lesson. Within the features of this supplement are different activities that can happen and that can occur. The teacher is able to use the book and go to the text dependent questions and really key on those and allow the students to listen to the questions before they even start the lesson so they have an idea of what to key in on as they're going. The second page is a supplement page that students are able to do on their independent work time, and the scaffold of having the 15 minutes of the whole group time and then the various lessons that can be broken down. The students have a diverse amount of opportunities to use the text as a way to grow their learning. There are links that are included in with the lesson so that you can go through, but I did pull up some of the resources that I thought would be great as small group or individual lessons that the students can do independently. So the next one that I'm going to go to here, what you're seeing are questions that students can ask themselves, or they may utilize this with a partner, and they go directly to the book that we were just looking at, the Animal Eyes book, and down below the question, the teacher can also zoom in on how she wants to utilize the questions more effectively. This particular question here about which animals in the book have two eyes, this one is a classifying information. This really helps for these particular questions to think about the grade levels that could be utilizing this particular book. So within one grade level, you may have a diverse amount of students with different reading levels. So you can really pick the kind of questions that you want to be most effective for that particular class or that particular student. And you can print them out and perforate them. There's analyze at the bottom here, create. They can have an opportunity to think and process how they would create. And above is cause and effect. And a lot of times that's a really abstract idea for them, just based on them conceiving it. But as they apply it to the book, why does the owl turn his head to see something? The cause and effect of why it would do that, and what would be the outcome of them doing it, and why would it be important? The next resource that is available here on my tab that I'm going to open is something that students can do individually, and really have a way that they can go back to that text and come back and record what they see, record how they interpret what they have read. And it really depends on if you give them the different types of book. And I'm going to go back to one of the book copies that I really find helpful. And this particular one is one of the wordless books. And with the wordless book, it gives the students an opportunity to really think about what's going on in the text and perhaps give a script to the text based on what they think the author would put themselves as an author of this particular book. And I really like how they can go through the text and zoom in on what's going on and give themselves an idea of putting themselves as authors and interpreting what is important from the different features in the text. And this is one that they have for the wordless. You also can give them one with the words, the double-sided or the single-sided. This is the projectable one for the teacher, but I wanted you to see the difference between the ones without words. It also make sure that it stays on the reading level. So all of your sight words and all of the word particulars that go with the level of the book stay with the level of the book. Students are able to, maybe if you have a skill that you're wanting them to use or something that they're wanting to draw attention to, the teacher can go over to the highlighter if you're telling them, I want you to pull out all the sight words that you can find and color them U, your, C, to, and they can make sure that there are words that they know. Or you could always ask students, which words are you not sure about? What are you having trouble with? And have them underline it or circle it, so that those are opportunities for small group, and you can go back and utilize that, maybe if you have a class dictionary or individual dictionaries where students can grow their vocabulary. So far, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question. I'm wondering, as a teacher, so that looks like you showed me where, can you go back to where that page was where you opened the projectable?
Yes.
So is this for my students or is that for me as a teacher?
The projectable book will be something that you can use as the teacher. The students will not have access to the projectable book on their digital resource. Say, for instance, if they're using a Chromebook or an iPad, it wouldn't give them the option for a projectable book.
So how do the students read the book? If they want to read it independently, or how would we use it in small groups then?
Yes, absolutely. The books are able to be printed. So you really have to decide on what type of book you want or how you want to utilize the book. If you use a single-sided book and you select it by clicking it, it will be a downloadable copy. And when you open it, you can choose if you'd like to print it in color or in black and white. And at that point, students are able to have a hard copy book as something that they can utilize right in their hands. If you would like to have them use it as a digital book, then this is something that you can assign, and you would assign it here right underneath the title and to the right of the copy that it shows. Once you choose it here, I have in my class, I just have some test students. It allows you to differentiate which students you want to have it. For instance, if I knew that test student number one, this was too high for them because they're actually reading on a kindergarten level for level G and not a first grade level, I would not assign it to them. Maybe I just really needed to assign it to test student number two and test student number three. And once I click their names, or maybe you have the students identified some other way, then you would go over to the green button and assign, and it would only go to the students that you assign it to. And right now, we have it defaults to the activities of listen, and it will read it to them. And you also can take a quiz. So they can hear it, they can read it independently, and they can take a quiz on the book once they finish. And these are already prescribed directly to the book. It's not quizzes that you have to make up on your own based on what you think the questions that they should know. It is already provided for you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Did you have another question about that?
No, not right now.
Okay, so I will show you what would happen after we would assign it. We assign it, you can go back to your class. For managed students, I have my roster available there. And once I click my roster, I can see who's in there and the things that I have assigned to them and what they're working on. I can see if they've taken different tests, how much that they're working on, how many books that they're doing. This is also the place where you could send your class a message if you're wanting to tell them this lesson, that the books that you're reading, you're going to be focusing on this skill of asking and answering questions. And if you wanted to send them a message, you could send included here. Your message can be typed, or you can record a message and it would go out to them, which is really helpful for those non-readers or English language learners that may still be struggling with print. What I do also like about having this particular option is they have awards that the students get, and based on the books that they read, you can assign some monetary value to it. And as they collect them, they're able to have their incentives section turned on. The students are also able to have a link from school to home by clicking the documents for home. They have things in English and Spanish that are available for a letter to the parents, and other languages are available as well. A lot of times students want to work on the program at home, and if you choose the login cards, a PDF file automatically is downloadable so that you may send those home with them. Is that something that you think that your students would be interested in doing?
Yeah, I think it would be good. We've got some second language learners. So I think that if they're able to get those books at home and maybe listen to them, because their parents, they don't get to read aloud to them as much as they need to be. So if they could listen to those books at home, I think that would probably be helpful.
Okay. What I also like is that knowing that the English language learners have the flexibility of having books in their native language, of knowing if we would need to send their book home, make that digital book available in a native language so the family would be able to have the privilege of learning that together. Because reading is beneficial whether it's in your native language or in the language that you're learning. So I really think that is a really good privilege of having that as a digital support tool.
So these books are available in other languages?
When you choose the book, you're able to find out if your book is available in English or Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Did you have any more questions about how to utilize the books?
Not right now.
Okay, I wanted to go through one of the books in particular and give you some idea about the questionings that are provided for the students. And this particular page indicates what students would see. And so you as the teacher can see what the students would be doing. For instance, if you were doing a small group and they're working independently. Students get the book. It shows a picture of the cover, and then they have the ear, the eye, or the question. I like to tell students to listen or read a couple of times through. A lot of times, students want to look at the questions and go straight through and start answering. So that is something that is teacher dependent on how you want them to construct their response. But when they are ready to take the quizzes look similar to this. They have a short amount of questions. Usually 5 questions are about as many as it has. And they are able to read through it and choose an answer. It will let them indicate how it is after they click it. It'll give them an answer to let them know if they're correct or incorrect. And then they would scroll on to the next one. They're able to see their answer and they're able to have immediate feedback.
So what you're showing right there, can you go back to that? That's for the student? They get that?
The teacher will get this one. The student gets the immediate feedback on their screen when they click their question.
Okay.
The teacher is able to see what the students answered and how they may have been thinking through the question. This helps having a dialogue later with the students being able to work independently, and that way you can go back and really see what they need to work on. This is a teacher page.
Okay. I guess I'm just confused on where you are in the site right now. So I know we were on the book,
Mm-hmm.
the book that you had, the animals book, and now
I'm just
curious how you get to.
Yes, exactly. How do you get to the page that I was just on? So we started here. Is that
Yeah.
Okay? We started here on this page, and this is where I was choosing the books for the students to use. So once I was here, I wanted to utilize assigning the book. So we went to this tab here of assigning the resource. And after your lesson, you really want to go back and figure out how the students did and how you can utilize the lesson for continued growth. So the Teacher's Corner is a place that you can go to go back and see and know where students are going after, how you can apply it later. The Teacher's Corner has an opportunity to see what standards that are involved in your particular grade level or what you're wanting to teach. I'll click that particular one because when I chose the Animalize section, I knew that I wanted to go to asking questions. So I started on this particular page here through the Teacher's Corner, the Common Core Standards. If our lesson is telling us it is time for doing the lesson for answering questions, I picked text dependent questions. I'm going to leave it at K through 6 for now and not have it be grade specific. That way I can utilize some differentiation in picking my books. find resources now. It's taking a little bit of time. Once
Yeah, it takes time when if you pull it for K6, it's going to take a lot longer than if you just pulled it for grade specific.
Okay, I'll pull it for first grade because that's that particular book that we were looking at with the animal eyes. It was first grade. Let's start over. All right. They're able to give you the particular standard, and on my scope and sequence, I knew it was time for, say your scope and sequence tells you it's time for asking questions, and the materials that are related to that standard are available underneath this particular tab. You're able to print that last page out if you just wanted to look and see how many standards that are covered within that. Now we have the books that are available. It gives you a brief description of it. It gives you your reading level, your thematic. I'll scroll through here for a little bit. It will let you know if it's fiction or nonfiction. Maybe you want a concept book, so you really can decide on within your scope and sequence how you want to apply this particular lesson or this particular book. So I'm going to go with a realistic level E book. It's going to give me that one. I can look at it and see if it's applicable. I'm still able to assign that. I'm able to have a listen ebook. I'm able to have the readable one, and I'm able to have the comprehension quiz within that. All of those resources are available with this particular book for students as they open it and are able to utilize it. We also still can print it out to have a hard copy for that annotation that students may need as they are going through the questions. The wordless book is available for them. The guided lesson that I indicated was useful earlier if the teacher would like to have that as an option to do whole group.
Is this something I could use small group too?
Small group.
The guided reading lesson?
As a guided reading lesson, it's a great tool to use for guided reading lesson. The large group, you may use a lot of this just as a scaffold. And then once you get in your small group, you're able to break it down, maybe more specific for before reading the text, after reading the text, even for different strategies per day. So those small group sessions will allow you to use one book for multiple days. Would that be something that you would be interested in? It allows you to continue on with your, to come back and have students come together with the teacher and have your closing out of what did you learn? What did you get from this story? How did your thinking change? And you can use after reading the text. If your students have phonological awareness needs, they break that down within the book as well. So that would work in your small group. So the differentiation options are available and broken down within the lesson. If you needed fluency, you can find that available within the text. On the lesson itself, a lot of them have different pages where you can just find a fluency, and the students can read a passage and you can practice their fluency as a timed lesson. Your free high frequency words, if they're looking for those, they can highlight those within the text. That's an option that a lot of teachers like to use when they're working in small group and in the whole group. If you would also want to, some of the teachers get tripped up on getting the books printed and stapled sometimes. So it's been a real helpful tool to have these videos come and tell you how to assemble the book. I know that they teachers are always interested in making sure that they get the books printed and put together correctly. So that's always a really helpful tool. So if you're needing those are available as well. I wanted to give you some other time to ask if there are other ways that you were considering utilizing the program or wanted to use the program and you just weren't sure where to find it or if it was a capability. So do you have any of those wonderings at this moment that we can maybe go through? I can. What happened? Am I having trouble hearing you? Am I having trouble hearing you? No, I can't hear you at all. I don't know what happened. That's why.
Okay, hello, Erica?
Oh, I can hear you. You
Okay, I could not hear you.
you were talking and I couldn't hear you at all.
Yeah, because I lost sound. I don't know what happened. As soon as I asked you about if I was to use the book I asked you if we could use, if you're using that book in whole group or small group, and then it just dropped. So I have no idea why, because I saw you still clicking through and it didn't give me an error or anything.
Okay.
But if you want to just quickly go back, I mean, we're kind of running close on time here.
Okay.
So if you want to go back to that and just kind of answer that question for me and then wrap it up, I think that's probably best for now. So if you can go maximize your screen, because it looks like somehow I'm seeing your desktop.
Yes.
And the browser there. Okay. So go back to the lesson plan. You were on one of those browsers that you opened up there. Oh, well, it's not a browser, actually, it's a PDF.
This particular PDF.
There you go. Yep. So, I wasn't sure how you kind of went between both, saying you use it whole group and then use it, guided reading. I wasn't sure which one.
Right. I believe that it's helpful to utilize a text for a variety of different reasons and to stretch the learning for that particular text in a lot of different capacities. So definitely whole group is good. Small group is good. Individual one-on-one time with the text is good. And also partner reading are all concepts of utilizing this book that would be appropriate. I also was thinking that utilizing one book for multiple days definitely is an important aspect of the reading comprehension and making sure that students understand the concept and are able to give the feedback and prove that they have the concept of understanding what are questions and how do we ask and answer questions regarding text dependent. Yes, using this particular supplement page, I would start out by giving students the vocabulary so that they would be fluent in that before they started the book. They have the academic vocabulary listed out. They have some story words also listed out that students may or may not be familiar with. And then I would move for small group to going through of using a graphic organizer to talk about, maybe use a Venn diagram and compare and contrast those things. Ask the text dependent questions that they have listed here in small group as well. And before reading the book together as whole group, having the students have some alone time to give a reading response. And I had a page open for the reading response, and I think this particular page was an opportunity to have a reading response that I think is on a lower level, kindergarten, first grade, that they would be able to do that independently. You can come back whole group and have conversations about this particular book. The lesson itself stretches for a lot of different lessons or different aspects of the lesson that teachers can utilize.
And then, do you guys have any other activities that my teachers will be able to use for when they're actually meeting with the students and they want to have their students work in either learning centers or independently?
And yes, I think that it would be helpful. It depends on whether the teachers want a digital work or if they want printed work. Having their resources, their books, they assign to the students specifically, students can utilize the digital resources. Students are also able to print out a comprehension page. This will let the teacher know whether students understand the main idea and provide various details. Uh, this this book that I switched to is called Country Places, and so this one, as there are many kinds of places in the country, so it's asking for the main idea, and students can give detail, and it refers back to the book that they were reading. That's something that they can do, those four squares, and turn their four squares into a writing. If students are needing to work on their initial consonant F, they can do phonics work. And this is also going back to that particular book where they are able to practice these words, saying them and writing them. Are these the types of ideas that your students may want to use for those type of mechanics?
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking for more, work that they can work on while I'm working with my guided reading group, and maybe not just necessarily a worksheet.
I would suggest that they're able to, using the wordless book is a very popular concept that I've known teachers to utilize. And whether the teachers gave the students the book with words first or the book without words first, and allowing them to be the authors of the books and using the pictures to utilize and activate their thinking to become authors and actually write. This is something that is highly engaging. It allows students to make an inference based on what they see, and they're able to have very different stories based on what is going on and how they're thinking.
Okay.
Teachers have been running these in color and black and white.
Okay. We're really short on time. The bell will ring soon, so we had asked really for those top 3 resources that you think that can be used in reading workshop. I think that we've got some ideas. Looks like you would recommend using the lesson plans and the book, and hopefully the ebooks and a lot of the worksheets. And I think we'll have to go from there.
Well, definitely let me know if you have further questions or if there are resources that you would like to still obtain.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, was that whole thing recorded?
Yes, let me go there and unrecord us now and stop the recording.
You can stop recording, and then you're going to have to figure out how to get the recording.
Yes. Yes. Finally.
Okay.
Mhm.
And from there,